It's the ultimate juggling act. On July 8th, Prime Minister Modi was in Moscow. He was sharing hugs with Vladimir Putin. 20 days later, there is talk of Modi visiting Ukraine. The date doing the rounds is August 23rd. That's when Prime Minister Modi could go to Ukraine. Now, this is very important. For starters, it's a wartime visit, so the logistics are more complicated than usual. You can't just fly into Kyiv. Prime Minister Modi will have to travel to Poland first. From there, he will have to catch a train to Kyiv. That's how all world leaders have visited the city. Secondly, the timing. This month, Modi was holding talks with Putin. Next month, he'll be holding talks with Volodymyr Zelensky. It's quite a turnaround. And finally, it's a long-awaited trip. Ukraine became independent in 1991 when the Soviet Union disintegrated. That's when Ukraine became a separate country. And since then, no Indian Prime Minister has visited the country. Not one in 33 years. So Prime Minister Modi could be the first. I guess the only question is, why now? The West wasn't happy about the Prime Minister's trip to Moscow, especially the US and Ukraine. Zelensky called it disappointing. He accused Modi of hugging a war criminal. But India brushed it aside. New Delhi said every country can set its own policy. So here's the question. Is this trip about damage control, or is it about a balancing act? In the last 2 years, India's policy has consistently evolved. At first, it was mostly by the book. Support for the United Nations Charter, call for diplomacy, and no condemnation of Russia. That was India's top position. But in 2 years, a few things have changed. Number one, Prime Minister Modi told Putin that this was not a time for war, which made one thing clear. India is not supporting this invasion. The policy is not anti-Ukraine, it is pro-India. Some countries have understood that, but some are yet to accept it. And change number two, the focus on human cost. We saw the Prime Minister do that in Moscow. Listen to what he said.
युद्ध हो, संघर्ष हो, आतंकवादी हमले हो, मानवता में विश्वास करने वाला हर व्यक्ति जब जानहानि होती है तब बहुत पीड़ित होता है। लेकिन उसमें भी जब मासूम बच्चों की कत्ल होती है, मासूम बच्चों को मरते हुए देखते हैं, तब हृदय छलनी हो जाता है और वो दर्द बहुत भयानक होता है।
An emotional appeal, that too is a subtle change in India's position. But what led to this? Almost 30,000 civilians have died in this war. I'm sure that moved the needle. But so did strategy. India has a growing relationship with Western countries. At the same time, Russia has a growing relationship with India's rival China. So New Delhi wanted a balancing act. Modi has spoken to Zelensky 5 times. He's also met him twice since the war broke out. Both meetings were during G7 summits. Having said that, he also has some red lines. Zelensky wanted to attend last year's G7 summit in New Delhi, but India did not invite him. Zelensky also requested Prime Minister Modi to attend the peace summit in Switzerland, but Modi did not go. He sent a delegation instead. So what should we expect if Modi visits Kyiv? I guess more of the same. There won't be a condemnation of Russia. There won't be political support for Ukraine, but there will be symbolism. Prime Minister Modi represents 1.4 billion Indians. He's taking all that goodwill to Kyiv. Beyond that, it will be tough. Very few world leaders have visited both Kyiv and Moscow since the war broke out. Indonesian President Joko Widodo is one of them. So is Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa and Viktor Orban of Hungary. None of them made breakthroughs. Let's see if Prime Minister Modi has better luck.
Across continents, one powerful news source.
Bringing you diverse perspectives on the issues that matter.
We go beyond the boundaries to give you that little extra about every sporting moment.
So thank you for making Firstpost 5 million strong. We're counting on your support And you can trust us to bring you the news unfiltered and unvarnished.
Climate change is on our doorstep. It's time for a revolution to take root. And it starts with 1.4 billion Indians. It starts with one tree for humanity, one tree for Mother Earth, one tree for our future. Project One Tree, a News 18 network initiative.
On the show today, the T20 World Cup bandwagon has moved across to the West Indies. What can you expect from this?
Hello, I'm Alison Green, coming to you from Durban, South Africa. Today we have a special show.
Start with a report on India's shifting nuclear posture. The first time since India officially became a nuclear power.
Hello and welcome to Firstpost America. I'm Aaron Ham, coming to you live from the nation's capital.